Welcome back to another episode of For the Record. I'm Dwayne.
I'm Hope.
Today is going to be a powerful show. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the need of having a podcast in 2024. It's important, especially as small businesses, specifically for small businesses.
Exactly. Not just a podcast. We're talking about a video podcast.
Everybody is into visualizations now. Now, remember when podcasting first came out, it was audio.
Yeah.
We heard a podcast, you're like, what is that? And I think I was probably 2021, I started hearing about podcasts, but it was all audio.
Yeah, audio.
Now the world is demanding more visualization. So if you have a small business, it's time for you to get a podcast about your business.
Exactly. And not only will it help with your audience engagement, but that way you can actually form a better connection with your audience, your customers. And then when they shop your store or come to acquire your product, they're already familiar with it and you.
And that's what it's about now, because we know what was crazy during that time of the pandemic.
Right.
Everybody was scattered, and now people want to come together. And how are we doing that? With visual podcasts. We don't all have to be in the same place, but we can all experience each other with these visual podcasts. Yeah, I love it.
I do too. And that's why we always stress, because, you know, on our social media, when we are out and about, we talk to people.
Yes.
We always say, hey, have you ever thought about starting a podcast?
And they look at like, I haven't.
Yeah. And they say they listen to podcasts,
Yes.
but I don't really, I don't have one, but we can help point you in the right direction, because like, let's say you're a business owner and your product is bicycles, right? You can have a podcast all around, the benefits of riding a bike, the history of bicycles, and then you can incorporate that around your business. I'm gonna just make up a name, Acme Bike, right? Acme Bike podcast. You bring in stories with riders that actually cycle, even those that do it competitively, those that do it on the weekends, and you'll be surprised at the community that can be built from that.
Yes, there's a lot of different communities out there we don't even know exist. And like, let's say, I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest and easiest podcasts, hair. There are so many men and women doing hair and cutting and facials that you can build a podcast around your hair care industry, and specifically how you take care of your customers, what you offer, right? And get customer tutorials and testimonials about hair care, because that is very, very popular. I know we were at Chipotle the other day.
Yes.
And I think you had on the Boss Move shirt, or you had on For the Record.
The Boss Move.
The Boss Move, always marketing. And a young lady that works there said, hey, what is that? And you explained, and she said, I want a podcast.
Yeah, she was like, is that your company? I was like, and I forgot what shirt I had on.
Right.
I was like, oh, yeah. She said, you have a studio? I said, yeah, we have a podcast studio. If you don't want a podcast, you could do, any videography needed, any event space or whatever you need. And she was like, I'm definitely interested in a podcast.
Yes.
And, and she worked at Chipotle. You just never know people's interests.
Exactly. From all walks of life. And that's why we should be a walking billboard, always talking, always marketing, because people are looking for new ways to advance their business. She might have a small business. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
We will be meeting with her after the holiday. She's going away. We're going away. So we're going to meet with this young lady. Also, of course, when you have visual podcasts, it's so much easier to monetize, because once you build that audience up to a certain level, we all know those subscribers. Here come sponsorships. Here come your local businesses in your area saying, hey, can you put me on your podcast? I want to market through you. Yeah,
and that also gives you a way to sell your product even faster, because let's say you have a sale going on. I'm still going to use the bicycle example. It may be a specific brand of bike that's on sale this week, and you can highlight it and feature it, and they actually see it.
Yes.
You can actually bring it out and give the benefits of, not the benefits, the specs of the bike.
The specs of the bike, the specifications.
Specifications. And it just, you can connect better. You get what I'm saying?
Better. Yes, because people are seeing, again, it's one thing when we tap into the sense of hearing, but when you get to see and hear something, it's more intriguing, you have more interest, and you're more apt to continue to follow because, I like that person's look, I like that person's tone of voice, but I also like their product and or service when I can see it. And that's why marketing commercials take up most of any show you watch, because that's how you get people to be engaged in your product or service. So I also want to go back to when we were talking about the different points of visualization with podcasts, because now you get to tap into other senses. What about the deaf? And what about those who can't see? And when you have a visual podcast, you can put captions for those who are deaf, and you can also continue to do audio for those who can't see. So that's another way of using your podcast, your visual podcast, to extend your audience viewership.
Yeah, and that's also with the social media, like we always talk about. Your product will go far, because there's so many people online all the time. And when you have your podcast and it's placed on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, you want to make sure you are putting the right hashtags, the right title and thumbnail. And that helps with
that's crucial.
Yeah, because it helps with SEO, search engine optimization.
Right.
Which is, it comes up in Google searches, Bing searches, whatever web browser that you use. You're able to access your product, your business, just from keywords, hashtags, correct titles, good thumbnails.
Yeah, and if you check out like our videos, I will hashtag it to death. Yeah. Because when people are searching, I want our videos to come up. And that is the point of SEO, search engine optimization. And that's where we use hashtags for. You know what else I like? Okay, what we have learned. You have room to experiment when you have a visual podcast. How so? You can go anywhere. You can be on location. You can do different camera angles, right? You can, you just have room to experiment in any way you want. You can go live. Right. You can do question and answers. So there's so many things about using a camera to capture visual content for people. So that's my favorite part of it, that you can go anywhere and capture content.
Yeah, one thing I like about it, and I watch a lot of podcasts, is the angles that they use. We have angles, different angles that we use, but I'm always kind of intrigued when I watch one. I say, I didn't even think about placing the camera right here. And that would enhance, of course, the video. People are more I guess in tune to what's going on, maybe just because the camera may be angled in a different direction.
Because of the angle. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just little stuff like that. Product shots, overhead shots.
Right. Exactly. And zoom in shots, right? So it's very important to remember you have room to experiment when you're doing a visual podcast. And here at the Boss Move Studios, we have all of that. We're your content concierge. We can help you with your visual podcast.
Yeah, and it's very engaging. That really keeps the audience engaged, and the storytelling. One thing about it, if you bought something, again, I'm gonna use the bicycle example. If I bought this bike and actually rode it, and had a great experience,
right?
You go on the podcast and you talk about that ride. Whether it was at the park or a bike trail.
Yes.
You talk about how it felt, just pedaling that bike, how, people may have complimented you on the bike or asked you where you got it from.
Right.
All these things can be brought out than just a regular ad about that same bike.
Perfect. You want to talk to the people who are actually using your product or service, because that's going to build trust with your audience. If you're, like you said, if you're just putting words up all the time, but I want to know who actually has patronized you.
Exactly.
Let them talk to me. Let them give me the experience, which is what we're getting ready to do with the Boss Move, because we help so many people. We're going to be we're asking even now for your testimonials so that we can put together our reel as well. We're a small business, right? Yeah. So we take advantage of all these things. Again, whenever we're bringing you information, these are things that we implemented as well.
Yeah. And it's very simple and cost effective, because again, let's say you went to a marketing agency and asked them to come out and shoot a commercial for you?
We've done that before.
Yeah, we've done that.
And just to compare prices, and they told us it was like 20,000.
Yeah, I remember that. And this was in 2018. Yeah, 2018. It was like, no, it was starting at 20,000.
It was starting at, and that was for simple. Hey, we're gonna just come take some pictures.
Yep.
We're gonna follow you around, and we'll give you this to put on your website. It wasn't what content is today. What we
Not
do,
at all.
right? No, it wasn't that at all. And they wanted to start at $20,000.
They had a 20,000. It was like a $35,000 package, and it was and up.
And I think their largest was 75,000. So when you're doing video content, what we do, that's also showing you how much money video content creation can make. Right? It's no small feat. It's no small feat. There's a lot that goes into it. And so why not have a company that can meet your needs in the new way of marketing versus that old way of marketing? We see Walmart and all them on those big commercials. That's because they're huge, companies. They can afford $1 million budget. Do you have $1 million marketing budget? Nobody as a small business has that.
And the creativity behind it, like we said, that was 2018, some years ago. Content has changed.
Big time.
And if you remember how when they presented that package, it looked kind of 2000-ish, like 2010, it just didn't look, it didn't look like content does today.
Right. It was
more like a polished look. Right now, people are creating content more organically.
Yeah, they want authenticity.
Yeah.
They want to see the struggles. They want to see the no edits.
Yeah.
They want to hear the they want to see you trying to gather your thoughts, right? They want genuineness. And if you can sell that, if you can show that without it being fake, if you can just give people genuine conversations like Rogan.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
That's why his podcast is so huge. Joe Rogan has an atmosphere where you're watching him talk with his friends. Like, he knows how to tell a story. His camera angles are great because during certain segments, it's angled in a way where you're engaged at what they're saying. And so I love his podcast because of that. He's showing you how to tell a story using those different camera angles. And he is showing people that being engaged with the audience keeps him growing. Yeah. And his podcasts are
they like 3
long.
hours. 3 hours. 3 hours, and people watch
the whole thing. Imagine his watch hours.
Man, I can only imagine. And people are watching 3 hour podcasts because it's a video, it's engaging.
Yes.
I mean, of course it's guests, but the main thing is the storytelling.
It's the storytelling.
It's the storytelling. And as a business owner, that's what you really want. People really want to tap into the experience.
Your experience.
Your experience, how it made you feel. And then when they tap into that, it's the emotion behind it. I may want that product.
I want to connect with you.
Yeah.
Because I hear, I see, I feel who you are through that camera lens.
Yeah. It's building the authenticity behind the brand when you put the face of the owner with that product or service. I mean, even when you maybe out in public, you just never know. People may be watching your podcast, your video podcast, whether it's online or well, not online, but whether it's through the social media or whatever. People tune and tap into those things.
I was local. So I had on a Boss Lady shirt the other day. I was at a Publix on Orange Avenue. Local people. And a lady said, "Hey, I've seen your podcast." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yes, someone I know sent it to me." I said, "Well, how did they know?" She said, "Someone they knew." Yeah. So they saw my shirt and that name triggered, I know your podcast. And I told her, "Thank you so much for watching." She said she's very happy with the content of the different women that come on. You get to engage with them in their business. Yeah. Right. So it's very important to know that people are watching. They may not always open their mouths and say anything, but people are engaged.
People watch, and like you said, that social proof that someone has actually have watched and even shared, that goes a long way, a long way, because the reach of video podcasts is so wide,
big,
and people are visual creatures.
Right.
You know, with TikTok and Instagram, those are short form video.
Correct.
Which, you know, those are
They
for
work.
Oh,
Yeah,
believe me, they work
big time.
But and that's the beautiful thing about the video podcast. Those are long form video podcasts, are long form.
Right.
Which means once you are done with it, you can take that podcast, chop it up for short form videos,
Right.
and place them online for even more marketing reach.
And that brings people to your page based off a short clip. I want to hear more. I want to see more. What are they talking about?
Yep.
And even with the visual podcast, you get to, I guess it's called authority branding, meaning your expertise.
Yes.
Which is, I want to tell y'all, I want y'all to leave some comments and tell Dwayne to do it. He has so much knowledge and expertise in videography, productions, the equipment, troubleshooting. This would be perfect for him, that you can start an expertise podcast telling people about the equipment you use, why you use it, and be interactive, and let you do question and answer. That's another way for a small business. If you're an expert in something, obviously you are, that's why you have the business. Do your podcast around what you do, and then take questions.
Let me tell the viewers something that they may not know.
Okay.
Technology has grown so much since the inception of podcasts, video podcasts. You can actually, and it's very cost effective. Do those question and answers and have expertise on, like, experts on your show.
Yes.
I'll use another example. I'm a lawyer, right?
Uh-huh.
And I have like experts on maybe in personal injury, maybe one in, let's say, criminal, maybe patent, maybe business. You can, what is that? 4 people. You can have those 4 experts on a podcast. We have a soundboard that actually takes phone calls.
There you go.
You can plug in the phone or whatever it is, and actually have a real call-in
show.
So
you're telling people they can go live and do a live question and answer.
Live question and answer.
And can the Boss Move help them with that?
We can do it.
100%.
And that right there brings so much information to viewers.
Yes.
I'm telling you, people will tune in. And even if you have like you said, customer testimonials.
Right.
If I'm a lawyer, how did this law firm help me?
Yes.
You know, my case went, like this, just lay it out.
And that's what people want to hear, the true story. You have different companies like the USCCA, those who are 2A members. They are always putting out content on how people have benefited from using the USCCA as 2A members, right? We're a part of that as well, and we're always watching their content. And I say that to say people want to get to know you and your business. It's not like 10, 15, 25 years ago, or even how it is in the mainstream marketing. You got McDonald's doing commercials, you got Target doing commercials, right? And we go to those places because we're used to frequenting them, right?
Yep.
So imagine doing that in the new digital era with your small business, constantly putting out content, and now everybody wants to come to your product and service. And that's what this new digital content creator community has done for small businesses. We do not have to compete any longer with the big companies.
No.
We can all eat. It's 8 billion people in the world. This episode of For the Record is brought to you by the Boss Move Studios, your content concierge. I have one. What if you have a daycare center? Okay. Right? You want these parents whose children already go there. We're not talking about the kids. We want to put them on there.
No.
But you have parents who actually patronize your daycare. They can do testimonials. They can say, this teacher is this place is this, is clean. My child has learned, right? There's so many ways to boost your business.
I'm a real estate agent. We get on, we talk about the market, the trends in the market. You can even talk about your listings.
Thank you go.
Think about that.
Did I just say thank you go? There you go.
Yeah, think about that. Let's say, for instance, I'm a realtor and I have this new listing.
Right.
Traditionally, I would post it on Zillow and whatever. You can still do that, but imagine having a weekly podcast or a bi-weekly podcast about that
listing,
that specific house. and you can actually, or maybe you have more than one.
Right.
You know,
on that specific property, and you go, well, today I'm going back. Let's see who's coming in. You sit there for a little bit. There's so many ways to market your business. We could talk about this all day because we've been doing this for so long, and there's so many ways for small businesses to benefit from visual podcasts. Now, you all see how much podcasting we do. We're not just podcasters, though. We do videography. That's our bread and butter. However, we know the importance and the benefits of having a podcast. That's why we have them. And we want to help you grow too with podcasting. Reach out to the Boss Move Studios. Go to www.thebossmove.com.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of times people may not see their need for one, but I'm telling you, if you're a business, the branding is unmatched, because while you're watching this, your logo on the screen, whatever message you want to convey to the audience, can scroll by on the screen. There's ways to have your website appear whenever you want, just like you just saw our website pop up. I mean, the benefits are just unmatched. It's unmatched.
And incorporating podcasts will change your business model. I mean, tremendously. You get network. You get to see the SEO optimizations. What else we talked about? You can tap into the deaf community, the visual impaired community. You can tap into interacting with your particular company, your business. Like you said, if you're a lawyer, if you're a stylist, if you're a daycare owner, you can market directly to your audience. And that's what's so important and beneficial of having a podcast. You are never off. Let's say you wanted to rebrand, right? I'll use us as example, the Boss Ladies. Okay, I have that logo, but I'm changing it for various reasons. I can put that out immediately and have a video and say, hey, and I show them we're doing this first, and now we're changing, and here's why. It gets out immediately.
So you're saying that your product or service can be turned around quicker nowadays because of this digital medium. It's going to go far and wide, super fast. It's okay about rebranding. Remember before, years ago, you'd be like, oh, if we change, they're not going to know us. You're going to lose your retention. Now it's people are interested. You're rebranding. Why? That interests people. Why are you changing? You know what? Why did you pivot? What are you doing? And sometimes we have to do that. You have to pivot and rebrand. But the good thing now is when you have a podcast, it gets out there immediately. And nowadays content is king. This is 2024, right? Everyone is making content. And sometimes people may get up every day and like, okay, what content will I make today, right? And that may be a struggle. But if you have a podcast, that comes out every week, at least I could shoot a podcast. That's content. I can repurpose those videos. That's content for the rest of the week. And it's
from that one podcast.
And it's all about your product or service. And again, if you don't see your need, I'm telling you,
your business won't grow, and you're not going to maximize your opportunity to monetize using a podcast. Listen, we are getting ready to go on I wouldn't call it vacation, a small getaway, and we're tapping into the travel podcast. So you're going to see some content from the resort we're traveling to, because we understand as content creators, which is our business, videography, we can go anywhere and have content. And so we are using our getaway to build content.
That's what we do. That's what, people are all over it, man. And why aren't you? Stop being consumers and produce the content. Like she said, travel videos are very popular.
Mom videos are very popular.
Like what you say? What do you mean by that?
So there are the audience for women who are in entrepreneurship and their moms. That market is very high. People most women want to tap into that.
That's right. We didn't even talk about that.
Yes, most women want to tap into what other women are doing because we're in the age of the woman. You know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm a business owner. That's popular. Yep. So there are so many. I know in my circle, they're posting everything they do, what they made for breakfast for the kids, where they took the kids, where their husband and them went for. That's content. People want to see that. And during those videos, they're pointing them to their brand.
Yep.
Right? They're pointing them to the brand. I'm doing all this to say what? I need rest. Come take my yoga class. Leslie, that was a plug for you.
Just think about it. And that's what you're doing. You're driving them to your brand.
Product or your service.
It's a type of funnel to your service or brand.
Yes, it's very important. Men are interested in what other men are doing with health.
Yeah, health and grooming and everything. Yeah.
and relationships. Mm-hmm. So I opened my phone this morning, I think it was Facebook, and I scrolled, and the very first video I saw were men talking about relationships and how to, and I'm seeing a lot of those. So plug into what's popular. Mm-hmm. And emulate that in your business so that you can grow your audience. Again, I don't want to start repeating. So let me recap for all of us. Reasons to start a podcast: your audience engagement. You expand your reach on social media. You're going to make some money, right? You get to humanize your brand. You get to leverage the multi-senses now. And it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap.
It's
let's not say cheap. Like when you say
cost
cheap,
effective.
Cost effective because it's not cheap for someone to come out and actually produce.
No,
it
not for what we do. We're not cheap. I'm saying to jump into exposing your small business using podcasts is cost effective.
Yeah, but don't let not being cheap scare you away, because there's ways that you can have a podcast and not even pay for it. Like you know, like you was talking about the mom videos. We're talking about your experience with your children, and you get these sponsors like Pampers,
Honest Juice.
There we go.
So many. Mm-hmm. And for the people that do hair, you can get Mael, you can get Suave, right? It's about sponsorships, right?
That's right.
If you're an attorney, you can get Morgan and Morgan to back you,
or LegalZoom, you know, whatever they use for
their services,
attorney services or whatever, whatnot.
Y'all out there know the platforms you use, so you can get those people to sponsor you. So we could tell you so much on how to get sponsorships, so much on how to do a podcast, because that's the business we're in, and we're here to share information with you. We're not gatekeepers. We want to share with you so that you can grow as we're growing.
Look, folks, this is 2024. Like I said before, there are millions of people wanting to buy your product if only they knew you existed. I'm telling you, go ahead today, look into starting a podcast. You can call us. We're here to help you. Go to our website, thebossmove.com. Get it started today. Create that content, because we are living in the digital age. We're not going backwards. We're only going to be moving forward.
Yes. And I think we have to remember one more thing we forgot to talk about, the need, because AI can also help you too in maximizing your business opportunities in podcasting. Look into different AIs, learn them, so that can also help you maximize in your podcast when you're exposing your small business. I am so grateful to be a part of the digital creation age, to know what's going on, not be afraid, but to utilize it.
You mean you're talking the creators economy?
Yes. I am so happy to be a part of the creators economy, because if you don't understand it, if you don't take the opportunity and plunge in, you are going to get left behind. Your business is eventually going to close, because if people are not seeing you, visual podcasts, if they're not seeing you anymore, you don't exist.
You don't. Because it's moving so fast.
So fast.
You know, things are just zooming by, and you said it perfectly. If they're not seeing you, you're not.
You don't exist.
You don't exist.
You don't exist.
See, I forgot what you said already. If they're not seeing you, you don't exist. So don't wait. Do not wait.
So support yourself more in 2024 by getting a podcast. Contact The Boss Move today for a free consultation.
I'm Dwayne. That's Hope. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk at you later.
Later.
Podcast, we run this town. Entrepreneurs to investors, we in the zone. Sharing knowledge, making moves. We a microphone for the record. We got the facts. For the record, we.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
We in the business. No